This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so already know that, so I'm glad that they tell us this every morning as we get to hang out, that the host does not matter. What matters is who the listeners are. Anyways, how are you? Because today is Thursday, November the 9th of 2023, day 113th of the year, and only 52 days left to go. Yep, that is it. 52 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
Yes, you know it. You know it. Yes, Radio Big, multiverse, and all those other places that we get to do stuff at. So anyways, how has the last 24 hours been for you? Because it's always important to talk about that. And to think we're almost done. We are almost done with the weeker of what has been going on here. Isn't that always a good time in regards to when we get to do that? So there you go. Anyways, if you're not familiar with the show, let's talk about it real quick. We are a show that talks about safety in the news and safety. That is kind of what we do around here. So not a big problem, not a big a big thing to talk about, but are things that we discuss. You can interact with our show in a simple process by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That'll get everything moving and grooving for you. No, it really will. Because that gets you into our systemas. It gets you into our systems, and then we get moving and grooving with you. So you have the opportunity of text messaging, video messaging, and audio messaging. See how everything blurs out when I put my hand in front of me? So there you go. So some options are available if you want to do some thingos. So outside of that, that's what we do. We have you interact. We have some safety. We have some news. We do some level of a main story because that's always important to do as well. And that's it. That's the show. That's the things that we do around here. So there it is. So with that being said, and you understanding what goes on, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending last night?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
So when I started taking a look at the trends of the ends, a shakeup within the Sphere venue management team and a new use for an everyday household staple. We'll talk about some of that. Brittany Mahomes wants to play a matchmaker, and Mariah Carey is working on new music. Andy Cohen really wants to celebrate New Year's Eve right this year, and with lots of booze. We'll talk about that. Yee and Northwest take on Dubai, and what else? And that's it. And then we'll get into a whole other slew of things to discuss if you're so inclined to hang out and hear. So if that be the case, why don't we do this one? Why don't we bring in our pro broadcasters and let them talk about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the news? Because I think that is what needs to be done. For them to tell you what the hell is going on inside of the main newscast stuff. So with that being said, I have some Mark Mayfield waiting for you to tell you all about it.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Republicans running for the White House are calling out Donald Trump. In a debate hosted by NBC News, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis slammed Trump for skipping the event. He said Trump needs to explain to voters why Mexico never paid for the border wall and why the former president never drained the swamp. Trump skipped the debate and instead held a nearby rally. Defense officials say the U.S. conducted an airstrike on a weapons storage facility in Syria used by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and affiliated groups. Brian Shook reports.
President Biden ordered the strike in response to drone and rocket attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria that have left dozens injured. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said he's fully prepared to take the necessary measures to protect U.S. personnel in the region. I'm Brian Shook.
The U.S. is pushing for temporary pauses in the fighting between Israel and Hamas. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, however, would not confirm reports that the U.S. and Israel are considering a 3-day pause in the war. He did say the administration is discussing the benefits of humanitarian pauses with allies, including getting aid into Gaza and securing the release of hostages held by Hamas. The longest strike in movie and TV history may be over. 118 days and no longer counting. Bree Tennis has details.
SAG-AFTRA says they've reached a tentative agreement with the AMPTP. As of 12:01 a.m. Thursday, the strike is officially suspended. The Actors Union is not releasing details about the agreement, only to say the $1 billion contract addresses consent, compensation, artificial intelligence, and streaming. The deal still needs to be ratified, and SAG-AFTRA's board is expected to review it on Friday.
And this year will be the warmest in 125,000 years. That's according to European Union scientists after the world's hottest October was recorded last month. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. The UN Human Rights Commissioner has accused both Hamas and Israel of committing war crimes. Dozens of countries have representatives in Paris for a conference to try and provide more humanitarian relief for civilians in Gaza. China is suffering from significant deflation, according to the latest data, and India's top anti-terror body has arrested 44 people in its latest crackdown on illegal migration.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
The GOP presidential hopefuls weighed in on the Israeli-Hamas war. During the third GOP debate on NBC News, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis implored Israel to destroy Hamas.
I'm sick of hearing other people blame Israel just for defending itself. We will stand with Israel in word and in deed, in public and in private.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley said she told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to finish them. Entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy said he would tell the Israelis to smoke the terrorists. Then he attacked Haley as being part of the military-industrial complex. The White House is recognizing the landslide of voters turning up at the polls to support abortion rights. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the stakes could not be higher on election night Tuesday. Speaking in a briefing, she said the White House is focusing on protecting the freedom against what she calls dangerous agendas that are out of touch with Americans. Abortion rights won big in Ohio, Virginia, and Kentucky Tuesday night, nearly a year and a half after the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade. The FDA has approved another weight loss drug from Eli Lilly. Lisa Taylor reports.
The drug is currently called Mounjaro for diabetes and will now be called Zepbound when used for weight loss. Zepbound was shown in trials to yield over 20% average weight loss on higher doses over a 72-week period, which is stronger than results for any other approved medicines. The FDA approved the drug for those with obesity or those characterized as overweight with at least one health condition related to their weight. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Federal prosecutors say a man accused of robbing 2 Salt Lake area banks reportedly used Uber to make his getaway from one holdup. The 35-year-old man was indicted Wednesday for bank robberies on October 31st and November 2nd. And Tracy Chapman is now the first black woman to win an award from the Country Music Association. Her 1988 classic Fast Car was re-recorded this year by country star Luke Combs and hit #1 on both the country and adult top 40 charts. At Wednesday night's CMA award ceremony, Fast Car was named Song of the Year. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Well, you know that here at Safety FM and Radio Big, we're always trying to look for life hacks, though. With the busy season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for your jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kits, can help you fuel up with fast chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, and ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Refresh your healthy habits without missing a beat. Choose from 34 weekly flavored packs. dietitian-approved meals ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you need to do is head over to factorsmeals.com/safetyfm50 and use code safetyfm50 to get 50% off. That's code safetyfm50 at factormeals.com/safetyfm50 to get 50% off. Go there. Do it now.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, you are listening at a risky business, because there is no doubt that that is portion of what we do around here. Some risco of the bizno. Yeah. I don't even know what that means, but I'm sure it means something. Anyways, it is currently 15 minutes past top of the hour as you and I are hanging out, doing the thing. Yeah, that's what we do. We hang out and do the thing. I mean, what else would you be doing besides the thing? But not the thing? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? It's kind of weird. It's a weird one. It's a weird one to talk about, because we talk a little bit about everything. I feel like that there's not much of a topic that we don't cover here, but is that a good or a bad thing, depending on how you want to take a look at it? Because there is some info. There is some info to talk about. There is some info to discuss. Always seems to be that way. So why don't we start talking right away about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the shit list? Because I think we need to do that. Only 4 giant pandas remain on display at the American zoos following the return of 3 of the black and white bears to China on Wednesday. Let's see. 2 of them came from the Smithsonian National Zoo in 2000 and ensuing years. Let's see. 1 of them gave birth to 4 cubs, and 3 of which have already been returned to China as part of the animal loan program. And the 4th cub was born in 2020, returned with the other panda earlier, I guess. And ongoing foreign relations with China has been recalling panda bears that are loaned to the Western countries and not renewing the program. That leaves the set of parents of the twin cubs and the Atlanta Zoo as the only remaining pandas in the country, and the loan expires next year. This is according to WUSA. So what do you think about that one? What do you think?
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
Yeah. You know how it goes. Self-imploding is apparently a thing around here. I don't know why one would self-implode, but there you go. Anyways, the hot new venue turning heads in Las Vegas just lost a CFO. Since it opened about a month ago, the Sphere has hosted residency for the band U2 and features an immersive audio-video experience for guests after running billions of dollars. Yes, running billions of dollars over budget and construction. Now the company CFO has quit after enduring the venue's owner screaming and yelling in a recent meeting. The owner, James Dolan, also owns Madison Square Garden and Radio Music Hall in New York, among the other enterprises, including professional sports teams. Dolan has a reputation for brass tacks and verbal assault as part of his abrasive management style. To other details on the CFO's departure, other than the formal filing that are being part of being publicly traded company, those documents make it clear that there is no performance issues connected to him leaving. This is according to the New York Post. So what do you think here? Some interesting information. What do you think? So you heard it a little bit earlier, but let's talk about it again. Another diabetes treatment turned weight loss drug is headed to the shelves before the end of the year. Pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly earned FDA approval to market its diabetes drug Mounjaro under a different label as Zepbound, specifically for patients that are looking for medicated assistance in losing weight. Big pharma competitor Novo Nordisk already sells diabetes drug Ozempic under the name Wegovy for weight loss. So there you go. This is according to CBS News. What do you think about these things? Are these drugs something that you would consider doing for weight loss purposes? And at what point do you get to where you go, okay, I think I need assisted pharmaceutical help in regard to losing weight? Because at some point you have to get there and go, this is what I need. I mean, I don't know. At what point do you pull the trigger? I am not 100% sure on what that is done and what is even the process. What exactly is a process to get approved to this? Like, what is the weight limit that you start looking at? Like, what are they looking at? Meaning the people that are going to prescribe the drug to you. Is it body mass index? Is it? I mean, how are they basing it? I want to know. I need to know more information. I really do, because I don't understand.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, a global study to find the nationality of most likely to party down the binge and drink and give the top spot to Denmark. Yeah, it's Denmark, where more than 2/3 of respondents say that they had 6 or more drinks in one sitting in the last month at 37%. Romania was at 36%. United Kingdom was at 35%. And Germany came in at 30% to round it out. And then Americans ranked at 23%. Yeah, 23. When broken down by gender, men drank harder than women in all countries. So there you go. Apparently there must be a drinking issue going on. That reminds me of that song, that country song, Drinking Problem. You know what I'm talking about? You should listen to it if you haven't heard it. It is an interesting one, to say the least. Seriously. Anyways, 21 minutes past the top of the hour. The latest TikTok trends has people putting toilet paper in their fridge. While it may not be the most pleasant thing to see when searching for a late night snack, it turns out that the roll of TP can absorb the moisture that contributes to mold, mildew, and foul smells. Baking soda is still much more cost-effective solution, but in a pinch, a good roll of TP will do the trick. Just don't put the roll back in the bathroom afterwards. I was getting concerned that it was going to turn around and say that it was used toilet paper that was inside of there. Hey, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what the thought process was. Doesn't mean that it was the right thing to think of. I was just telling you what I thought it was going to say. Anyways, let's do this real quick. Let's bring some Erin Royale inside of here and let her tell us about what's going on with some Money Matters.
OpenAI held its first developers conference and made some impressive announcements. Mark Mayfield reports.
The company revealed that after a year of operation, ChatGPT has more than 100 million weekly users. The company also unveiled GPT-4 Turbo, calling it the most powerful AI chatbot yet.
Senate Republicans want huge changes to immigration policy in return for aid to Israel and the Ukraine. Trey Thomas has more.
The plan to restrict asylum claims does not sit well with Democrats.
At this pivotal moment when the world's looking for us to lead, Republicans are trying to force Congress to pass bad immigration policy.
South Texas Congressman Joaquin Castro is furious that Republicans want to detain migrant families. He says that would violate a 2015 court decision saying children must be released from federal custody after about 3 weeks. I'm Trey Thomas.
Americans owe over $1 trillion on their credit cards. That's according to a new report on household debt from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. It found that credit card balances spiked by over $150 billion year over year. It's the largest increase this century. Credit card delinquency rates also went up, especially among millennials burdened with high levels of student loan debt. Nintendo plans to bring more iconic video game characters to the silver screen following the success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Silvana Anau reports.
The company is making a live-action version of The Legend of Zelda in a partnership with Sony Pictures. The first Zelda game debuted in 1986, and it's one of Nintendo's biggest franchises. The latest installment, Tears of the Kingdom, has sold more than 20 million copies this year.
Heinz will launch a new pickle-flavored ketchup next year. The condiment maker says pickle ketchup will combine the tangy and savory flavors of pickles with the unmistakable taste of Heinz ketchup. Pickle ketchup will start to hit store shelves in early 2024. Consumer and business news, Erin Royale, NBC News Radio.
Okay, can't wait for some pickle ketchup, that's for sure. And think about that real quick. She referenced that The Legend of Zelda would be a movie that would be coming in via Sony in collaboration with Sony. But if you think about it, in the video game market, Sony is Nintendo's, I guess, biggest competition. Kind of a weird thing, but I guess that's the way that the cookie crumbles from time to time. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about what the number is that I found. The Dow lost about 40 points to close at 34,112 on Wednesday. The S&P lost about 4 points to close at 4,382. The NASDAQ increased by 10 points to close at 13,650. West Texas Intermediate closed at $75 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $79 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.40 on Wednesday. Bitcoin gained about, it was gained on Wednesday about 0.5% and trading right around 35,600. There was more than 1,440 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, and more than 30 such cancellations. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $223 million jackpot or a $100 million cash payout. So, if you want to play the game, there's a chance to do so. So there you go. Take a listen to this real quick. Actor Patrick Dempsey has been named People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive for 2023. It's nice to have the recognition, and certainly my ego takes a little bump, but it gives me the platform to use it for something positive, the 57-year-old said, of the honor. So there you go. So now you know who the sexiest man in the world is, if you're into that kind of thing. Did he make your list? I'm just asking. I want to know these things. Anyways, take a listen to this. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley says the Republican president would not be able to ban abortion. Take a listen.
Let's agree on how we can ban late-term abortions. Let's make sure we encourage adoptions and good quality adoptions. Let's make sure we make contraception accessible. Let's make sure that none of these state laws put a woman in jail or give her the death penalty for getting an abortion.
During the third debate hosted on NBC News, Haley argued that a 15-week federal abortion law isn't realistic. Haley also said the Republicans would need to find a consensus, including banning late-term abortions and encouraging adoptions.
Let's focus on how to save as many babies as we can and support as many moms as we can and stop the judgment. We don't need to divide America over this issue anymore.
So what do you think there? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting one as you take a listen to it. I mean, there is no doubt about that. So there you go. Take a listen to this. After more than a decade of debate, the U.S. General Service Administration has selected Greenbelt, Maryland as the location for the new FBI headquarters. Maryland U.S. Congressman Steny Hoyer says that it's good news for the state and the FBI.
I am very, very happy, to say the least, that after 14 years of working to make sure that the FBI has the kind of facility necessary so it can carry out its critical mission for the country.
Hold on. 14 years? What the freak was going on there? Seriously, 14 years. That seems like a crazy lifetime ago. Anyways, the GSA says that it carries out the lowest cost for taxpayers and has the greatest transportation access and provides the highest potential to advance sustainability and equity. Landover, Maryland, and Springfield, Virginia were the other locations under consideration. Maryland's federal, state, and local officials say that the historic moment for the FBI in the state and the nation. Member of the team of Maryland say that they have long believed that Greenbelt could be the best location and that they're pleased that the GSA arrived to the same conclusion. Maryland U.S. Congressman Steny Hoyer says he's happy with the GSA's decision.
It's a great day for Maryland. It's a great day for the FBI.
And it's a great day for America. So there you go. Take a listen to this. Nikki Haley is calling for Vivek scum during the GOP presidential debate. The remark came early in the Wednesday's debate in Miami during the fiery exchange between the candidates using TikTok to spice the tie to China. Let's see. What else? What else was in there? Vivek said that the previous debate, Haley had made fun of him for joining TikTok while her own daughter had been using the app.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it, and that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer.
Vivek also attacked Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel and asked for her resignation following this week's election losses in Kentucky, Ohio, and Virginia. Candidates Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott, and Chris Christie also participated in the debate. Boy, what a fun time to be alive, huh? So there you go. Some fun stuff always going on as we are talking about the nonsense here. Anyways, New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer is pursuing bipartisan legislation to combat disinformation on social media, especially Chinese-owned TikTok. Trey Thomas has more.
The Stop Hate Act would require social media companies to release reports regarding violations on their platforms and how they address them.
China is pro-Hamas, so it only makes sense for them to push anti-Israel, anti-American content on TikTok. They have control over the algorithms so they can push pro-Hamas content.
The Anti-Defamation League says there's been a tsunami of anti-Semitism and disinformation since Hamas first attacked Israel last month. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, so thank you very much, Trey, for that one. Anyways, take a listen real quick to this. Along with COVID and flu, RSV will be making the rounds this season. The most vulnerable are the elderly and infants. Trey Thomas has
Dr.
more.
Alenia Stevens says infants are most at risk of death from RSV.
Most people by the age of 2 will be exposed to RSV and find some immunity. But babies don't always have all of the immune system to kind of fight the virus.
She says there's a vaccine for expectant mothers that lowers the risk of an infant being hospitalized with RSV by half. RSV is the leading cause of infant hospitalization in the United States. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that one right there. Former President Trump held a rally in Florida on Wednesday night while the third GOP presidential debate took place in Miami. Trey Thomas has more.
Trump addressed his supporters just a few miles away in Hialeah.
If we don't win this election, you're not going to have a country left. I'm telling you, this country's going to hell. It's going to hell. And you know it, and we know it.
Trump also fired shots at President Biden, saying Democratic leadership has pushed America to the brink of a third world war. I'm Trey Thomas.
The country's going to hell? Was that the breakdown? Wow, that's pretty interesting. China is threatening Taiwan was a topic during the third GOP presidential debate news. Let's get some more from Trey.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley said, "We need to modernize our military and arm Taiwan."
We need to do everything we can. The first thing is you go and you make sure you have the backs of Ukraine. That's why the Taiwanese want us to support Ukraine, because they know that sends the biggest message to China.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said U.S. nuclear submarines are the single most important thing to deter China. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey, for the information right there. Take a listen to this. A man from Tarzana is behind bars after a woman was dismembered. Remains were found in a dumpster in Encino. LAPD Detective Efren Gutierrez says that the torso was found on Wednesday morning.
When the officers responded, they discovered a dismembered female wrapped in a plastic bag. It was just outside the dumpster. They confirmed that it was a human remains.
Police say that suspect's wife and her parents are missing. The 35-year-old's 3 children are accounted for. Police say that they searched the man's home and discovered evidence of the crime, including blood. Detective Gutierrez says that it's not clear who the remains belong to.
There are parts missing. However, we don't know who she is at this point based on the some of the missing parts, missing limbs.
This man's the suspect's neighbor.
It was very, very shocking. I wouldn't have thought in a million years that would happen here.
Yes, most people wouldn't think that your neighbor is dismembering people. Yes, I agree with the comment. That is for sure. Take a listen to this coming out of Kalamazoo. The suspect in the murder of Isaac Agree, downtown synagogue president Samantha Wool is in Detroit, has been arrested in Kalamazoo. Detroit Police Chief James White says that Wool was found stabbed to death in her yard on October the 21st after she returned from a wedding on October the 20th, and adds that the arrest does not close the case.
There is one suspect in custody, and we're going to continue to work this investigation, and we're going to go where the evidence takes us.
Kalamazoo's public safety did not offer details on the person's arrest. White says that they will continue to work with the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. Also, White says that the arrest of the suspect in the death of the Jewish leader does not close the case at all.
But we're not done, and I don't want to characterize this as a complete investigation. We've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to do it. We're going to stay focused and continue to investigate this case.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's talk about some main story time, because listen, when we start getting into some information here, I mean, there is a lot of death that we were talking about before we got here. There was a lot of politics before we got here. And there was a lot of stuff that we normally don't talk about on this show that we were talking about today, which makes it kind of even more interesting that we get to talk about it. But when we get to the main story, it is the story between you and I. It is the story that we get to address about the things that are going on inside of our workplaces. This is normally what we try to cover. Or I'll go on to some dumb rant about something that, is something I find interesting that we should discuss. Kind of how those go. So with that being said, let's discuss this today. When was the last time you sat with your team and asked the all-important question of what's going on? What do they need help with? Bringing it out totally out of the ordinary. Something that they would not expect you to start randomly talking about. And the reason that I bring this up is because a lot of times we don't have those discussions. A lot of times we don't give our team the opportunity to talk about what's bothering them, what's concerning them inside of the workplace. I want you to think about it, and let's be honest with each other. When was the last time you did that? Listen, I'm guilty as charged. I'm not sitting here, on the soapbox saying, "Oh yes, I don't do this." When I used to interact daily with the workforce inside of an organization, that was the case. You had to bring these questions up, and there are times that you get so involved with what you have going on that you tend to forget to ask the question from the team. That you forget to ask the question of what's going on that's important to them. So, when was the last time you did this? Do you think, as we're having this discussion, that this might be a good time to ask that question? Right before the holidays kick in, right before everything starts moving. And the reason that I say this is because we tend to forget to do so. We tend to forget that all-important thing of, hey, our most important people inside of the whole building are our team members. And they know what's going on. They understand what is happening, and sometimes they need things that we don't give them the opportunity to ask for. So if you gave them the opportunity out of the blue, how are they going to look at it? Will they be excited to give you this information? I think most of the times, based on past history, that people get super excited when they're asked what they think needs to be improved. When you give them the availability to have that discussion. So, do you think it's something you can do this week? Do you think it's something that you could do early next week? Do you think it's something that you can do before the holidays fully kick in? Think about that. How different will your team look if you get to ask that one lovely question?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you going to do? You're going to go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
It's my kind of music. I get the best mix of my favorite music. All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
Okay, here we go. 43 minutes past the top of the hour. As you and I are hanging. Yeah, we are hanging. Here on the Rated R Safety Show, hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. This is a 3-hour show that can be heard across radiobig.fm. Also available the first hour on Safety FM. Or is it the other way around? People always kind of ask that weird question. So there you go. This right here is Turn Back the Clock. Yeah, don't forget the L. By a band called Fancy. Available on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. So there you go. Song readily available for you. Like to thank Van Steve for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So there you go. There you go. There you go. Yeah. We still got little time left for us to hang out and do some things. So let's start talking real quick about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. They really can. They really can get better. All you have to do is go to their website, twloha.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. Listen, all kinds of information right there for you to discover. And when I say all kinds, I mean there is a little bit of everything. It talks about addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support resources, just to name a few. All you have to do is go to their website, twloha.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, I will tell you, things can change for you. Have to get the information first, twloha.com. So there you go. Let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of our showy-owy here, because that's what we do. We talk about the things of the lingo and the bingo. Because what else would we be doing if we weren't doing that? So, Christmas tree. Let's talk about it. Apparently, one Christmas tree just isn't enough anymore, and that's the word of interior designer Jen Derry, the CEO of Balsam Hill. She says that while we've seen examples of what she calls over-the-top holiday decoration become more and more common outside in recent years, well, the trend is moving indoors, and she feels that these days that having one boring old Christmas tree in the living room decorated is with cheap lights with gold stars or angel on the top are gone. Her company is seeing number of people putting multiple trees around their homes in order to feel the Christmas spirit throughout the whole house. She also supports that they have themed trees these days, and they're with curated ornaments serving focal points of other decorations. And don't forget the kids. Some parents are setting up small trees in their children's room, sometimes decorating them in the theme of their favorite Christmas movie or superhero. I just saw a Christmas tree advertised for $75 a piece. And guess what? One isn't enough. Well, weird idea, but I do appreciate the fact of having multiple trees creates even more room for presents. So some stuff to think about. I'll tell you, I was watching somebody on, we'll call them a quote-unquote influencer, and what they have decided to do is have a Christmas tree that they keep up year-round, and they just theme it for whatever holidays is in the next neck of the woods. So there you go. I don't know if that's the way to do it. Maybe it is. Let's do some tech talk real quick. There's always coming up with new features for smartwatches, and a 2024 version of the Apple Watch could be a game changer for your health. Reportedly, the newest series device will have 3 additional sensors, one that can alert wearers if they are pre-diabetic, one to sense the rising blood pressure, and the other one to detect sleep disturbance that could mean sleep apnea. Apple is reportedly also creating a digital health coaching service that will create personalized workouts and eating plans as well. If it doesn't already boss me around enough, now it has the opportunity to do so. A study has found that 1/3 of people around the world may be at high risk for smartphone addiction, with women and people in parts of Asia most likely to report the problematic use. The study in the research of the University of Toronto, McGill, and Harvard asked more than 50,000 people between the ages of 18 to 90 from 195 countries to gauge how problematic their smartphone use is, and they found out that women generally reported higher problematic smartphone use than men, and problematic smartphone use tends to decline with age, especially after 110. So what do you think? So do you think you have a smartphone problem? The only thing that pisses me off with smartphone issues is where the people are not paying attention to where they're walking and they're legitimately almost running you over because they're looking at their smartphone. You know, I call them smartphone zombies, and I'll yell it when I'm walking if somebody's about to hit me because they're looking at their phone. And my oldest daughter normally tends to get all weirded out that I do that, but I find it hilarious because people tend to freak out because they're looking for the smartphone zombie most of the time, not realizing that it's themselves.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Yeah, it's time to put the silicone obsession down. Oh, that's something else. So there you go. What do we want to look at here? We got all kinds of info that we can still talk about. Where do I want to go here? Let's do this one. The Mount Rose Ski in Tahoe is kicking off the winter season. Take a listen to this.
The resort's Mike Pierce says it'll be open this Friday for skiers and riders who want to get their first tracks on the mountain.
We're going to kick off with opening one of our express lifts up to about 3/4 to the top. And what that does is it accesses our Kit Carson Bowl, which gives a big quality downhill experience.
Pierce says it's another early season opening for the resort. For opening weekend, planned lift operations include the Lakeview Express from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., offering top-to-bottom access to intermediate level trails on the main lodge side of the mountain. Nika Magahis, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Nika, for that information right there. California Classic Burgers is about to move into Whataburger territory. Take a listen to this.
Animal style or not, In-N-Out is bringing the double-double to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and will fully invade the Four Corners region by 2027. The fast food chain currently has locations in 7 states, and New Mexico would raise that number to 10. Idaho is opening its first In-N-Out in Meridian soon, and work on a hub in Tennessee will begin in 2026. In-N-Out was founded in Baldwin Park, California in 1948. Nika Magahis, NBC News Radio.
I was going to say, I'm really bad at math. If you tell me that, they're in 7 states, they're going into New Mexico, and that's going to raise it to 10, because I was like, how do I do that math? Because it sounds quite terrible in that particular regards. Anyways, with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute. Because I think, and you think, that we all should be motivated. I mean, to some extent, I guess, right? No? Yes? Maybe?
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Eileen. George Carlin said, "Some people have no idea what they're doing, and a lot of them are really good at it." I love that. George Carlin was a very funny guy, but sadly he passed away before TikTok was a big thing. Imagine what he would have thought of that. There are so many things these days that just don't make much sense to me. I'm not sure how some of these things that go viral are actually going viral. Why is it? What is the reason for this? Some of the nonsense that people enjoy just makes me wonder. Now, I do like some of the positive things that have caught on. Let's do more of that. Let's make those things the more popular things. And let's let that dumb stuff go away. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Researchers at the University of South Florida Health are making a breakthrough regarding treatments for people with Alzheimer's disease. Officials are looking for FDA approval for a drug already given to people with significant dementia as part of the AHEAD study. They want to give the medication to people who are at risk of undergoing symptoms to see whether it delays the process. Clinical trials are already underway. Well, there's a new study indicating young survivors of gun violence deal with mental health and substance disorders at significantly higher rates than their peers. Researchers at Mass General Hospital in Boston also found an increase in the mental health needs of the families of gun violence victims. They said the study could help guide long-term care for young survivors of gun violence and their families. Health Updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Yes, Rated R Safety Show, Pitfall of Society. That is for sure the way that we normally do things around here. No doubt about that. Currently 53 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. And as I take a look around back in, let's look at 2015. Back in 2015, SeaWorld in San Diego announces it will overhaul its killer whale show after controversy over the whale's treatment. The show, which has been part of the park's identity for decades, was replaced with a conservation-based show. So there you go. That happened back in 2015. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, I have some of those. Finn Cole turns 28. Nikki Bolonsky turns 35. French Montana 39, and Chris Lane also turns 39. Vanessa Lachey turns 43. Cisco turns 45. Nick Lachey turns 50. Eric Dane turns 51. Chris Jericho turns 53. Scarface turns 53. What else? Ryan Murphy turns 58. And Lou Ferrigno, well, he turned 72 today. So there you go. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I always have some of those for you. It's Chaos Never Dies Day, National Scrabble Day, World Quality Day, World Freedom Day, Carl Sagan Day, British Pudding Day, and National Louisiana Day. So there you go. Some interesting stuff, for sure, as we're talking. Think about it. I mean, what else? I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. That's the stuff that's going on. So there you go. Let's talk about, did you know, real quick, the Canadian government paid consultancy firms $670,000 Canadian dollars to provide advice on how to save money on consultants. The new details, which were tabled in a parliament, show the Department of Natural Resources approved the expenditure to KPMG, a global professional service company, to provide managing consulting services, including developing the recommendations to ensure that Canadian tax dollars are being used efficiently. Treasurer Board President Anita Assad is currently leading the government effort to save 15 billion Canadian dollars. I have an idea on how they could start. I mean, I'm just saying. Kind of a weird one, if you really kind of think about it. Anyways, let's take a look at this. If you need a random joke for today, the early worm gets the bird. That's what I heard. The early worm gets the bird. You get it? Okay, I hope you do. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. If you're given 1,000 acres of land that you didn't need to pay taxes on but couldn't sell, what would you do with it? I think I have some ideas. I really do. If you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Try this question. In a survey, 35% of people said that they would not return to a restaurant because of this. What is it? The restroom soap dispenser was empty. I heard this years and years ago. If you go into a bathroom inside of a restaurant and it's dirty, that should give you some idea on how bad the kitchen looks. What do you think? Do you think that that's kind of realistic or not? It's kind of a weird one if you really kind of give it some thought. No doubt about that one. So there you go. Anyways, this is going to sum up our time together. It really is. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me on this lovely Thursday. Top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm, hanging out for the next couple hours or so if you want to come out and hang out over there. If you don't, that's fine. But if you want to stay here on Safety FM, not a problem. Good friend Sheldon Primus coming up, taking over and doing the things that he does, because he will talk to you about the world of safety consulting. No, seriously, he will talk to you about the world of safety consulting and how to become a safety consultant. Normally leads you step by step on how to go through the process. So Sheldon Primus coming up on Safety FM. I will be going over to Radio Big, as I said. Thank you for always being the best part of Radio Big and Safety FM, and that is the listener, because without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. No doubt about it. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Never apologize for showing your feelings. When you do, you're apologizing for the truth. Think about that. You're apologizing for the truth. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Picked up all my